So good day everyone, I am a first reporter of Group 7. So our topic, which is laws and policies of violence discrimination of members of LGBTQ+. So this lesson discusses Silent Philippines laws and policies for protection of rights of members of LGBTQ+. Also, it explains silent anti-discriminatory laws and policies. So when we say laws and policies on violence, daghang nasod naghimo og balaod aron mapanablan ang atong rights of LGBTQ plus individuals, including anti-discrimination laws and measures addressing hate crimes in some places. Same-sex relationships are legally recognized and protected. And the next is equal protection. Ang equal protection is mao ni siya nagginahanglan nga ang tanang tawo or mga butang nga parehas og lokasyon nagkinahanglan nga parehas og pagtrato, both as to the right confirmed responsibilities imposed. And the next is due process. So, due process is a principle that government must respectful of all of our person legal rights of ensures that our laws and legal proceeding must be. So, introduction. The 1997 Constitution Equal Protection and Due Process Clause. So, the 1997 Philippines Constitution states that the state values of dignity every human person and guarantees full respect for human rights. So apart from this, the 1997 Constitution enshrined in its due process and equal protection clauses that no one person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. So nor shall any person be denied equal protection of the law. So ang Article 3, Section 1, 1997 Philippine Constitution, as the fundamental law of the land, the guarantees are equal lawful processes of the and the paramount consideration ensuring human dignity and respect for human rights in this provision serve as the basis of protection of the rights members of LGBT. The 2010 Supreme Court decision in the Angaladlad case. Angaladlad LGBT Party versus Comelec GR 1905-82, 8 April 2010, considered the pride of the Equal Protection Clause in the Constitution. The court ruled in favor of allowing Anladlad to be a partyless, seasoning that, from the standpoint of the political process, the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender have the same interest in the participating in the partyless system on the same basis as other political parties similarly situated. Hence, laws of general application should apply with equal force to LGBTs, and they deserve to participate in the partyless system on the same basis as the marginalized.
Violence and discrimination. Discrimination is an act of violence. Discrimination is the act of the making unjustified distinction between human beings based on the groups, classes, or the other categories to which they are perceived to belong. People may be discriminated on the basis of race, gender, age, religion, or sexual orientation, as well as other groups are unfairly treated in a way which is worse than other people are treated, on the basis of their actual or perceived membership in certain groups or social categories. It involves resisting members of one group from opportunities of privilege that are available to members of other group. Case of Jennifer Laude. One of the night of 11 October 2014, Jennifer Laude was brutally killed by Lance Corporal Joseph Scott Pemberton, a U.S. Marine, in its December 1, 2015 decision. The Regional Trial Court of Olongapo City ruled that Lance Corporal Joseph Scott Pemberton was guilty of homicide and not the murder alleged by the prosecution, sentencing Pemberton to prison for a period of 10 to 12 years, later reduced of 10 years after appeal from the defense. The court found no criminal intent to kill because of the presence of two mitigating circumstances, namely passion of obfuscation and intoxication. In court, instead, that the heat of passion, he arm locked and decided and drank his head in the toilet. The court agreed that it was the discovery of Jennifer Lowry having male and genitalia which disgusted and repulsed Pemberton and caused such hated passion. Therefore, the court decided he had no malicious intent to kill, reducing the murder charge to one of homicide. Kaning anti-bullying act is kanang dili ni sila pwede mambuli sa mga bata or sa mas gulang pa nila kay kuan nana sila ay na may balaod nga anti-bullying act. Gender based bullying is kani kay pwede ay kini kay hindi dili pwede nga mga magbugal-bugal ka anang mga makasakit sa usa ka tawo pareho anang bayot kanang bugal-bugalan lang ug maayo dili na pwede kay naman tay kuan anagod kanang mo nang gikuan niya gender based violence ay bullying. So kaning child protection policy to 2012 kay kanang balaod nga nagprotekta sa mga bata or sa mga estudyante sulod sa eskwelahan nga dili mabulit tungod sa ilang looks, gender or intelligence. Kani protection of child kay kanang balaod nga gi-implement para gihapon sa mga bata nga nagprotekta nila nga dili sila ma-discriminate. So mao na. So the Labor Code of the Philippines kay kanang balaod nga nagprotekta sa mga tao nga nagtrabaho sa private sector or mga kumpanya labi na sa mga LGBTQ. So kani kay balaod nga gi-implement para sa mga sexual harassment victim para ang mga ni harass nila or nihatag nila violence kay makasuhan or mapriso na. Summary, the Philippines have virus anti-discrimination policy for member of LGBTQ. However, these policies are not yet sufficient and national law on anti-discrimination is still wanted point case in this CS already involves topics and issue of LGBTQ+, making this matter of high importance already. Nonetheless, the rampancy of discrimination of member of LGBTQ+ prevalent a huge issue that Philippines must address.
Discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression or SUGI in the Philippines. My topic is about SUGI Bill. I will elaborate to you kung unsay kagamitan sa SUGI Bill. My assigned topic will help us first understand the issues, impact, and formulate activities and programs to address these on human rights violation and discrimination on the basis of SUGI Bill. In 2019, the SUGI Equality Bill was filed in the Philippine Congress to address these issues. The bill seeks to prohibit discrimination on the basis of SUGI and promote equal opportunities for all, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. It aims to protect individuals from discriminatory practices in areas such as employment, education, health services, and public services. However, the progress of the SUGI Equality Bill has faced hurdles with debates and opposition from some sectors of society. As of my last update, the bill had not yet been enacted into the law, but discussions and advocacy efforts were ongoing. To further explain this, ang SUGI bill unta mahelp sa mga tawo nga dili or maskin ma-prevent ang discrimination along with the people that's regardless with their sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, which is SO for sexual orientation, for GI is for gender identity, and lastly E for expression. Nagamit kog unta because wala pa ni siya mahimong law. From the word itself, SUGI bill. It is still a bill which is proposed law nga moagi pa sa kamot sa legislative body nga maoy mohimo, mo-amend, and mo repeal og law. SUGI, Sexual Orientation, Gender Identity and Expression. Everyone has a sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. As such, each person's journey of self-awareness and expression is unique and individualized according to the culture, environment, and lived experiences. Anti-Discriminatory Bill is a proposed act that intended to recognize and distinguish sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. The Universal Policy, Article 2, 1, 3, and 26 of the Convention provide for the respect for individuals, equal treat for people, and non-discriminatory of all individuals on the groups of inter alia, race, color, and sex. It is found not only that the reference to sex is Articles 2, 1, and 26 must be taken to include sexual orientation, but also that laws which criminalize consensual homosexual acts explicitly violate the privacy protections of the law. National and local policies. LGUs from different cities all over the Philippines have been proactive in passing and filing city ordinances banning LGBT discrimination. Presently, the anti-discriminatory bill is still pending before the Congress. This bill is expected to be signed sa law before ma-end ang Duterte administration. Bago ang mga panukalang bataa na ito, ilang mga LGUs ang nabatupad sa mga ordinansa at resolusyon upang matugunan ang mga isyong ito. Effect of state discrimination in society. The state's treatment of LGBT individuals intensifies discrimination on the basis of SUGI within Philippine society and social institutions. Ang pagiging bata at hindi pagsunod sa mga tungkuli ng kasarian na itinalaga sa kasarian ng isang tao ay nagdaragdag ng panganib ng diskriminasyon at pag-aabuso para sa mga taong LGBT. The victimization is aggravated by the absence of support mechanisms and school policies addressing this concern, as well as a failure of schools to students from being abused by other students, staffs, administrators, and teachers. Discrimination LGBT students face in schools not only violations right to be free from discrimination but prevents these individuals from the employment of numerous other rights in the convent as well. LGBT youth are often targeted by parents who, upon discovering their child's sexual orientation and or gender identity, compiled to inflict physical harm or them out of frustration or an attempt to prevent their child from expressing their sexuality.
The next is discrimination by the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church in the Philippines, represented by the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines or CBCP and the Episcopal Commission on Family and Life or ECFL, opposes the inclusion of sex, gender, sexual orientation, and gender identity in comprehensive anti-discrimination ordinances. They argued that such inclusion would create ethical, marital family, and religious freedom issues. They believe that the differences in sex and gender should not be equated with differences in race, color, religion, or ethnicity. Opponents of the anti-discrimination bill claim that its passage would pave the way for same-sex marriage. However, it is important to note that the anti-discrimination bill at the time of its introduction and as it stands does not include provisions for same-sex marriage. This summary highlights the stance of the Catholic Church and the concerns raised regarding the inclusion of certain terms in anti-discrimination legislation. It is important to consider multiple perspectives and engage in open dialogue to address this issue effectively. The next is the participation of the members of LGBTQ+ in public life. The participation of members of the LGBTQ plus community in public life is protected by Article 25 of the Convention, which guarantees the right of every citizen to participate in public affairs, including the right to vote and have equal access to public service. These rights this right should be free from unreasonable restrictions and should not be subject to discrimination based on sex, which encompasses sexual orientation. This summary emphasizes the importance of ensuring equal participation and access to public life for LGBTQ individuals in life with the principles of non-discrimination and equal rights. The next is discrimination in the military. Based on media announcements, it appears that the Philippine military and police are expressing a commitment to non-discrimination and inclusivity by declaring their openness to admit individuals from the LGBTQ plus community into military and police service. This aligns with the non-discrimination clause of the Philippines Constitution, Article 2, and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights or ICCPR. This summary highlights the public statements made by the military and police regarding their stance on non-discrimination and their willingness to accept individuals from the LGBTQ plus community into their ranks. It is important to continue monitoring the implementation of these policies to ensure that discrimination is effectively addressed and equal opportunities are provided. Then lastly is the summary. Discrimination of people based on SOGI is widespread in the Philippines. International and local policies are in place to address this prevailing issue, yet some institutions still spread this L issue. What is clear is that everyone, including students, must act to resolve this issue. So, discrimination based on sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression or SOGI is a prevalent issue in the Philippines. While international and local policies exist to address this problem, there are still institutions that per- perpetuate discrimination. It is evident that everyone, including students, has a role to play in resolving this issue and promoting equality and inclusivity. This summary emphasizes the widespread nature of discrimination based on SOGI in the Philippines and the need for collective action to address and resolve this issue. It highlights the importance of individuals, including students, taking an active role in promoting equality and combating discrimination.